Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to talk about why Giga Mexico makes the most sense for Tesla as they prepare to launch their next gen platform. So let me go ahead and share my screen here so we can talk about a couple key points. So the first one, Viva Mexico. So as a native myself, having been born in Mexico, brought to the US in the first grade, and having been here now for almost 3 decades, it's quite an honor that Tesla selected Mexico as its next location for a Gigafactory. To know that Mexico will be fundamental and integral in accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, that's quite a prideful moment. That is essentially what motivated me to actually make this video and hopefully make more videos down the road. This is actually the first video on the channel. And so I'm quite inspired now that Mexico is going to be an elemental piece of Tesla's trajectory, Tesla's roadmap. Not to mention, I've been talking everybody's ear off in my family about Tesla. So I think having another outlet to keep talking about Tesla and an actual virtual Tesla community, I'm all about it. So anyway, next gen platform, it's been stated in Tesla's Investor Day that in order to have a vehicle that's available to the masses, i.e. 20 million vehicles by 2030, you need to have a very cost-effective vehicle, whether it's just in a robotaxi form or an actual vehicle that people can purchase. You need to have a very low-cost vehicle that the masses can actually access. That brings me to the next point. Cost of labor, I think we all know, the cost of living in Mexico is dramatically lower than it is anywhere in North America, i.e. the US or Canada, whatever it might be. If you visited Mexico, you know that your dollar just goes a long way. And so cost of living equates to lower cost of labor. And so let me go ahead and share what the actual hourly rate is for a factory worker, particularly in Monterrey, Mexico, which is where this factory will be located. So per Alma Denise here on LinkedIn, she has a table here of kind of the hourly wages in Mexico. And so just to kind of highlight a couple of the positions here, $260 for an assembler, $366 for a machine operator, about $4 for a forklift operator, and a molding operator is about $3. But anyway, even if you take the highest cost here, let's just even say $5 per hour. If you multiply that over about 2,000 standard working hours per year, you're looking at a $10,000 salary per employee in the factory. Now, of course, there's some other costs associated with that, whether it's benefits, potential stock compensation, just other costs that continue to burden a full-time salary. So even if you round that up to $20,000, all inclusive, compared to what a salary in Giga Austin is, you are essentially looking at 1/3 the salary of a Giga Austin factory employee. So here I have, as of February 2023, the average salary is about $60,000 per year. And again, this is just a salary. So this doesn't include, again, stock comp. This doesn't include any sort of benefits or anything like that. So $60,000, you can easily mark that up, but maybe 20% to have a fully burdened cost. In the previous example of Mexico's labor, I'm basically marking it up by 100%. Here you can get $10,000 salary, marking it up by 100%, $20,000. Even then, you're at only 1/3 of what a Giga Austin salary is. So that's just to kind of put things into context of how Tesla needs to execute on bringing costs down for the next gen vehicle. And this is how to do it. Having low cost of labor in a country that has a lower cost of living. And I'm sure Tesla is going to be paying pretty darn well, regardless of what the average hourly wage might be. Okay, so moving on to the next bullet point. Good talent. So in Mexico, the education system typically is a public education system where it's actually free to go to college. For the most part, anywhere you go in Mexico, if you go to a four-year university, it's paid for by the government. However, in Monterrey, They have one of the most prestigious universities in all of Mexico. It's known as El Tec de Monterrey. So here's its website. So it's a very prestigious university where you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to get good talent coming out of a four-year university. I think you may have heard what Elon thinks about MBAs and above, but for the most part, you're going to get pretty solid talent within, I think it's about a 20-minute drive from where Giga Mexico is going to be in Monterrey. And so if folks choose to stay in Monterrey, I'm sure that Tesla is going to be probably the number one employer that these graduates are going to want to go to. So I think that's also pretty exciting, knowing that you have a melting pot of good talent coming out of a four-year university in Tec de Monterrey. Again, it's a private institution, good talent coming out of there. Education is solid. And so I think Tesla has a lot going for it as far as a pool of talent that they can choose from, i.e. this university. So another reason why Monterrey seems to make the most sense as far as the next Gigafactory goes. All right, next bullet point, timeline. Highly recommend you follow this guy on Twitter, Matthew Donegan Ryan. So he actually had the opportunity to chat with Tom Zhu, where here he actually states that Tom Zhu is Tesla's version of Tim Cook. And he had the opportunity to kind of ask a few questions, pick his brain a little bit regarding when we can expect a vehicle to roll off the lot. After having chatted with him, here are just a couple of the bullet points. I won't go through all of the thread here, but a couple of the things that he points out is the next gen platform will be built in Mexico first, and then they will copy and paste effectively a blueprint, which I think I also had in my bullet points there, but it'll be a copy and paste for other gigafactories throughout the world. And then this is kind of what I want to highlight. Hopefully you can see it okay on the screen if you're watching it on your phone, but the first Gen 3 vehicle will roll off the production line in 18 to 24 months. So that's pretty darn gnarly. I think it was Matthew that also asked about the timeline for when they want to start and finish construction for Gigafactory in Mexico. And I think they wanted to beat the record that they had in Shanghai, which I think was about 9 months. Keep me honest, but I think it was about 9 months. So it's pretty darn impressive that Tom thinks that in 18 to 24 months, the first vehicle could roll off. Now you can bake in a little bit of Elon time, but again, consider that this is Tom Zhu, not Elon saying it. Of course, if Elon were to say this, we can easily bake on another 12 months. But the fact that it's Tom Zhu claiming that in 18 to 24 months we can get a car, it kind of holds a little more weight. Of course, always take everything I say on this channel and everything anyone says related to Tesla with a pretty decent sized grain of salt. But it does hold a little bit of weight. So I'm going to, maybe hold him accountable over the next several months to see if there's actually some steam boiling up here. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about is timeline, 18 to 24 months. That's pretty darn crazy. All right, cool. Next bullet point is pricing power. So again, Mexico is going to be instrumental in helping lower costs so that this next gen platform can be accessible to the masses. In the investor day, Tesla stated that they have a path to reduce cost per vehicle by 50%. That will be kind of the key to unlock being able to mass manufacture a car at a price point that the majority of the planet can hopefully afford. So I went ahead and did just a little bit of analysis, pretty basic analysis on like what that would sort of look like. Using CY22 data, if Tesla could cut costs by 50%, what would the ASP estimate be at that point? So I added CY21 and CY20 as a reference point as well to kind of see what auto gross margins kind of look like over the last couple of years, and then what it was in CY22. It was about 26.2. I'm taking this directly out of Tesla's 10K. You can find that yourself on Tesla's website under the investor relations link. I copied a couple of screenshots down here, but for the most part, I'm only taking this top row here. So hopefully you can see it well if you're watching on your phone, but it's just automotive sales, not including regulatory credits, leasing, or energy or anything like that, just automotive sales. So in CY22, Tesla did about 67 billion in sales, and then cost of goods sold just for that row is about 49.6 billion. Really, you can round that out to 50 billion flat. And so I take those numbers, pop them in here. You can see that CY 21 and 20 is there as well. So I just pop them into here. Obviously in CY 22, you probably already know Tesla delivered 1.3 million units. So this is just delivery. It's not production. So I'm taking 1.31 billion units, 67 billion in revenue, 49.6 billion in cost, and then just calculating what gross margin is in dollars and percent. So roughly 26%. So then I calculate what the implied ASP and AUCs are per vehicle. Just super back of the envelope, simple math, nothing scientific, nothing out of left field here, just super basic math, just to kind of paint a picture. But, a variety of different ways that you can kind of approach this. So basically just taking revenue and dividing it by total volume, I get about $51,000 per vehicle is the cost. Is the ASP. Now, I understand that there's a lot of mix that can go into this. You have a wide variety of pricing ranging from the Model 3 all the way to the Model X. And so, Model X Plaid. And so there could be a wide variety. Obviously, it probably doesn't drive as much for the Model S and Model X because it's such a small volume. But nevertheless, that's something to consider. That's being baked in here is just a good amount of mix. But for the most part, 51,000, pretty decent starting point. Doing the same thing for implied AUC, just taking the cost of goods sold divided by 1.3 million units. So it gives you about $38,000 of cost per vehicle. And so that gives you an implied AUM of about $13,000. And so down here is where I'm applying the sensitivity. So basically I can toggle this gross margin target percent to estimate what the ASP will be based off of cutting the $38,000 per unit cost in half. So that's what this row is taking the $37,000 per vehicle and just dividing it by 2, and then reverse engineering to see, okay, if this is my cost, what would my ASP be if I'm trying to get to a 40% gross margin? So you can toggle this, like you can go down as low as 20%, and at a $19,000 per unit cost, your ASP can essentially be about $24,000. So, if Tesla were to get, somewhere down the road at around a 30% gross margin, there's your $27,000 vehicle that everybody's suspecting Tesla will announce at some point. Other people just think they're going to go straight to a robotaxi platform and not even sell a $25,000 vehicle. Who knows? That's still open to debate until Tesla actually tells us something. But for the most part, this is just for illustrative purpose only. So take it for what it's worth. But anyway, if Tesla wanted to get to like a 35% gross margin, you're looking at a $30,000 car, and then a 40% gross margin, still hovering around 30,000. So this is just to show kind of the pricing power that Tesla has when they eventually do come out with the next gen platform. And if they can actually execute on cutting cost in half, that'll be pretty dope. So anyway, that's basic math here, just to kind of illustrate a point of like, if they can execute on that, Tesla can actually have a lot of pricing power to bring their costs down for the next gen vehicle down to a $30,000 to $25,000 range, if they actually pursue that route, or if they just straight up go the robotaxi route. So anyway, moving on, talked about the AAC reduction, gross margins. Next bullet point is distance. So you may have seen this already, but the distance between where this Gigafactory will be and where Giga Austin is about a 400-mile drive-ish, which if without traffic, it looks like here in Google Maps, it'll probably take you about 7 hours-ish to drive to and fro. So I can imagine a lot of Tesla semis driving to and from these routes here. So again, ideally located. It's a great city to be in, highly urbanized, affluent, great talent coming out of a great university there. It just makes so much sense that this location, Mexico having the lowest cost of living in North America, wanting to stay within North America, everything just kind of stacks up well, that this location is, the cream of the crop for continued growth. So anyway, last bullet point here that I'm going to get to, and as I've been kind of walking through this, sorry if if you were able to hear my daughter in the background. She's finding her voice now, so she's 1-year-old finding her voice, and very active, very loud. But anywho, last bullet point, like I said, I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, but basically this next Gigafactory will be the blueprint for future factories going forward. I think this will be the blueprint for factories in the future that will build, who knows if it's the actual robotaxi only or the $25,000 quote unquote vehicle or both. So once Mexico gets built, according to Tom Zhu, actually in that same thread from Matthew Donegan, he points out that Mexico's Gigafactory will be built alongside other Gigas or another Giga. So Giga Mexico will be built at the same time as another Giga. So it could be that they are going to build a whole new Gigafactory potentially in Asia, but also it could just be an expansion of current Gigafactories. So, Austin, Berlin, Shanghai, or Fremont. So we know already that Tesla's always kind of finding ways to expand their current Gigafactories or their current factories. So, take it for what it's worth. It could be either or both at the same time. So Tesla has shown that they have relentless execution, always trying to see how they can continue to improve, continue to cut costs, continue to really accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. So a lot of good stuff going on here. None of this is financial advice or anything like that. This is just me expressing my thoughts. Again, this is just the first video on this channel. So I do look forward to kind of continuing to share my thoughts as new developments come up regarding Tesla. And because, like I said, I've already talked all my family members' ears off about Tesla, and I think they're getting sick of me continuing to talk about it. So what better outlet than YouTube, where there's a great Tesla community that hopefully I can also be a part of and contribute to the discussion. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of good stuff. So anywho, I think that's about it for now, guys. I appreciate you watching this video. I'm looking forward to this week. It's going to be an exciting week as we continue to navigate through these interesting waters with the Fed and their positioning and just kind of everything that's going on macroeconomically. But yeah, I think despite that, Tesla has shown incredible resilience, incredible effort, and looking forward to seeing how CY23 continues to expand. It's kind of crazy. It's already March. So Tesla continues to show that they're executing, firing on all cylinders, if you will. And so looking forward to see how the company continues to progress throughout the year, despite all the headwinds that they're encountering. So anyway, with that said, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.